The real you versus the idea of you. Are we really being who we want to be, or are we putting out a image of what we think people want to see, or the image of what people want from us, and we feel quite fake in doing that, compromising ourselves? I've realized over the years, from a man's perspective, there is this notion that we have to be a certain type of man, and it's starting to get worse for the younger generation in terms of labeling men in certain ways. And the question is, can we be who we want to be while still fitting into society? Because we still need to socialize. We still need to work, find a partner, have children, be a dad for those children. And it's difficult. Am I strong enough? Am I emotional enough? All of these little pockets that we've got to fit into, figuring out who we're supposed to be. And I guess me having a level of status, playing football professionally, built confidence. But within that industry, I wasn't who I wanted to be comfortably. And that's trying to fit into these stereotypes. And there's so many. You know, I'm a black guy, so therefore there is a perception I found of who or what people expected me to be. And they'd be like, oh, you're not as bad as I thought, since you're a footballer. And you're like, what is that supposed to mean? You know, and then being in a predominantly white environment, sometimes the thought process of culture from people that don't know your culture, and they don't know me at the same time. You gotta understand that, like, being brought up mixed race in London with a black father and a Greek mom, I was trying to fit into all sorts of pockets, because sometimes I didn't feel I was black enough because people would tell me I'm mixed. I definitely didn't fit into my Greek side because that was something that wasn't accepted from my mum's side anyway, with my dad being a black man. So I know I didn't fit in over there. And I realized I am who I am. No one can take that away from me, but I have to be comfortable with it. And so I had to create a level of confidence in who I wanted to be. Did I want to fit certain stereotypes? No. Do I like my culture? Yes. How I grew up, what I listened to, who I hung around with, the people that helped form part of who I am. I like. The things I didn't like, I'll push away. Pushing those things away became a sacrifice. And sometimes that can come with being isolated. And now, when I look at young people who I mentor, they're more isolated. They feel like they have to fit into even more pockets. You know, I can be in a rural area in Wiltshire, and I can see young white children, boys, who love black culture but don't understand it and don't know it, but will portray it, in a sense, more than what I would. And you're like, okay, that's different. And you try and help them to understand what that culture is about, because there's nothing wrong with liking another culture and admiring a culture. But don't just admire one aspect of it, especially if it seems to be a stereotypical negative aspect of it. So education is key, experience is key. But as they grow, you have to be solid in your identity. And for me, that's the hard thing for men. We're asked to achieve in a world where achievement is in your face, socially, social media wise, but it's not easily attained. And nothing is easily attained anyway. So even if your identity is rooted in what you want to be, that's not enough. If your identity is based on your children, that's not enough. Your relationship, that won't be enough, because there has to be a form of inner security that if these things fall away, you're still able to function and still be yourself. And you also don't have to put on a show around others. And for me, that's what it was, you know, the reflection on who I wanted to be versus what I was doing had to align. And so I had to have an honest word with myself. Do I want to be a good professional footballer? That was one of my first things. Yes. Okay, well then I'm going to have to fix some of the things that I do. Eat correctly. I have to allow myself to work hard and not be afraid of working hard. I have to put myself in a position for a maximum probability of success. And the maximum probability of success means being consistent and disciplined, even when motivation is scarce. If I want to be a good husband, I have to realize that regardless of my power, status, finances, that doesn't give me the right to then disrespect my wife or my partner. They don't have to be your wife. I hear sometimes that, you know, when I'm married, then I'll stop cheating, or when I'm married, then I'll settle down. You can't become the thing you want to be after you've done the most important thing. You have to practice it before you start. So for me, I had to practice being an honorable man from the beginning, not once things get serious. You know, you can create too much damage that way to yourself, to others, especially, you know, your children. And I'm passionate about the children aspect because I work with children on a daily basis, and I see the fallout of what can happen if the family dynamic isn't positive. And then, you know, most people love their children, but they have to look outside to get help because what's within has crumbled within the household. And, you know, when emotion is involved, sometimes logic goes out the window. So it's logical to make sure your child gets the best from you, gets the best from your partner, even if you're not together, but your emotion will go, nope, don't want to do that. And then the child will suffer. And even then, being angry, being the angry and emotional version of you is not the authentic you, because you're being run by emotion. And so the question is, are you reflecting on who you really want to be? Are you wanting to be a good parent or a good partner or a good professional? And are you doing enough to not cause friction in your life and inconsistency and hypocrisy? The other question is, am I being the real me, or am I being a worse version of myself or a fake version of myself for those around me? And if I'm around those type of people, do I need to be around people that won't accept me for who I am? And the pressure of society can create a version of yourself that you may not be happy with, or causes internal conflict with what you truly believe. And all I would encourage for any person, especially the guys out there, is don't compromise yourself for somebody else in a negative way. In a positive way, completely fine. I will compromise myself for my wife, because if it creates cohesion for us and positive feelings and a way to progress, then that's completely fine. But in a negative way, do I have to drink around this person? Do I have to act in a certain way to please this person? And it's actually compromising who I want to be in a negative sense. I don't feel good about myself. Then you really have to look at that. But yeah, that was just in my mind, like, how real are we being with ourselves? And if we're not being real, we need to reflect on why. And that's what it was for me when it came to the mirror formula. It's always about reflection. It just draws you back to, what am I doing? And why am I doing it? And can I change it? Can I take ownership of my change and start building in a way that makes sense for my belief system and what I want in life? And whatever you draw to you from that point forward will benefit from how well you do that. Because I believe when you look at yourself correctly, it makes you less selfish. Think about that one. Anyways, take care. I'll speak soon.